Okay. Eat my pussy and kick my ass.
Yeah.
Welcome back to A Couple Pints Pod.
Holy crap. Look at that masterpiece.
I know, it's amazing. I can't believe a fan, aka me and Liv, my dank ass GF, painted that last night.
I don't know if you can tell, but this foam up here, this is
It's frothy, bro.
it's pleasing to look at.
It is. Liv did that. The shittiness. My whole thing was when I did this, I wanted it to look as shitty as our logo looks. That was my intention. And then Liv was like, "Let me do the foam and the drips and the make it look like the glasses are chilled." And then it got really good. And you can tell who did what. But I mean, I painted the yellow. I also
looks beautiful.
I stayed inside the lines. So like, there's that.
I don't see any bit of yellow outside the lines.
Well, also that's because I painted the yellow first, and then I went back and did the black. So whatever was outside the lines, I put it. The lines didn't exist when the yellow happened, and then I made the lines afterwards because that's how painting works. It's all about layers. I'm actually like a modern day Salvador Dali.
Why the fuck did my first and second grade teacher tell me, you know what you can do, Colin? Color the picture super hard, but don't go too far outside, and then just accent the actual line itself with a black crayon. Because like what you did, do the yellow on the inside of the picture.
Yeah, it's all about layering.
And then outline it with that nice dark line.
To define the space.
You know how many times I failed coloring projects because I went outside the line? If I knew this, my pictures would have been flawless.
You poor little tight boy.
I mean, I
didn't tell you the backstory. I didn't tell you the backstory behind Little Tight Boy, but I'm saying it now. We'll
little tight boy.
Talk about it off cam. Yeah. So enough of sucking my cock.
Frothy.
Did I say it? Welcome back to your favorite. Oh yeah, I did. A Couple Pints Pod. That's what got us on the painting. Anyway,
right.
I'm shot.
Baby.
So we're back again. It's about time to run on these streets like we're paid to do. And this week, we're talking about. Don't say what we're talking about. Ready? That's what we're talking about.
That proves it right there. It's not real.
Silence. So we got this. Colin sent me this. Was it a reel? It was a reel.
It was a reel because the argument's been floating around on Instagram.
Yeah. And it was a group. It was a group of these really high kids, which made it even better. And one of them was just like, dude, silence doesn't exist. And now that I don't smoke pot, and the fact that I was totally on this fucking Stony Baloney McGee Space Cadet homeboys side, silence isn't real.
You're never in silence. Never.
And we had a whole philosophical debate over some quesadillas and drag earlier.
Great debate.
Not even a debate, just me, Olivia, and Colin just getting very, very philosophical with it in terms of like, silence is a construct, but so is everything else around us. So like, we know this is yellow because someone at some point in history said this is yellow. It's the same thing with silence, but also the definition of silence, which I'm making up. Hopefully it's close. Should I Google it? I don't want to Google it.
No.
Like total. But our whole thing is silence isn't real.
No.
Because even if it is silent, you can't hear Liv on the business call outside. You can't hear the cars passing by. You can't hear the beers a flowing. You still have an inner monologue. So for humans, well, silence isn't real across the board, but for humans, the constructed idea of science isn't real because you always have your inner voice in your head.
That inner you.
And the point I made, let's live in the present. The point I'm making
right now
is even if you put yourself in a sensory deprivation tank, like or Rogan, you go out to the middle of fucking nowhere in like the desert somewhere, or you are in like a totally, like you said, soundproofed room,
Mm-hmm.
one of those experiences, there's always noise in your head. Unless I guess you're like,
A meditation master.
but even then you're
I
talking to
argue with
yourself to
that
get you to
too.
that level.
Because are you telling me that when you go full Zen, that everything is completely just flatlined? You have no thoughts going through your brain.
No, that's what I'm saying. Because even like, let's say you're a Zen master, you're not audibly telling yourself, like, get in the Zen mode or whatever they do.
but then you can also still hear your breathing. So you're not silent.
And like you said, when like the sensory deprivation rooms or tanks, like it's so quiet, you can hear like your heartbeat and your blood flow. But my whole argument is you always have your inner monologue. Like even when I'm not talking and you're talking, I'm thinking, there's a voice in my head lining up my next statement.
It never shuts off.
And then like Liv said, like, well, what about when you're unconscious or like sleeping? But you still have dreams. I got knocked out unconscious once. We were hotboxing a garage in the middle of July and it was really hot and I passed out. But even when I came back to, I went somewhere else when I was knocked out.
So you weren't
So
silent.
it wasn't silence.
You were never
like
silent.
the argument we're making here is there is no such thing as true silence.
And you could argue, oh, but when I'm laying in my bed and I live in the middle of nowhere in Wisconsin, I have no highways, no roads, no cars. So when it's like 12 a.m., it's silent. Okay.
See, I think we confuse silence for like top tier quiet.
Because I live in Kirkville, New York. It's pretty freaking quiet.
I mean, Southold is quiet, very quiet. I live on a dead end street in a town of 2,000 people.
But I still hear shit every second.
Well, you hear bugs, you hear the rustling of leaves and trees. I live in the basement in a soundproof room.
Here we go.
Me and my dad made it soundproof so I could do music and shit.
That's right. Because I'm your
But
dad.
still, there's windows and whatnot. I can hear the leaves rustling and the animals moving around and the crickets cricketing and the floorboards creaking above me, and also my inner fucking thoughts.
Do you think you'd ever be able? Okay, here we go. Those Zen meditation masters. You think
We're talking like
the Buddhist monks,
Buddhist
who have
monks,
done nothing but live in the monastery up in the high mountains.
training themselves for ultimate what is it, nirvana.
Exactly. Do you think they've communicated with their inner voice and shut it off?
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think that's humanly possible.
But they're
That's the
borderline
point I was
not
trying to make.
human.
And that's fine. But they still have to coach themselves through that experience.
So up until a certain point, that's
like if you turned it off, you'd be dead.
Would you be?
Even if you can turn off your inner monologue, like you said, you're still going to hear your heart beating and your lungs filling with air and exhaling. If it's truly silent,
Yeah.
you can hear yourself breathing. You can hear your heart beating. So maybe silence, the true definition of silence, is actually just death. But then also we don't know what happens when you die.
May be wrong, but I think I might be right on this one.
Probably
There
wrong.
is a room, a literal fully padded room with you can't see them, with those blue and black pads. One of those.
There's sound pads all over this room. That's what he's pointing at.
So those sound pads, they cover the whole entire room.
Yeah.
And the door closed.
A soundproof room.
Exactly. The record for someone being in that room, I think, was 24 hours. And at that mark, they left the room because they started to slip into madness due to the voices inside their head.
Yeah.
So,
Because there's no such thing as true silence.
So I'm starting to think, because I'm those Buddhist monks. Here we go. There was a Buddha statue found
Oh, with the dude in it.
with the dude in
Yeah.
it. That guy reached total nirvana.
Okay.
Do you believe he reached total silence? Because there's no other way you're going to sit there and let your body solidify and calcify over to that point unless you have absolutely nothing going through there.
Well, like I just said, I think total silence is when you cross the threshold of living to not. Maybe
Whoa.
maybe he could turn his inner monologue off, but like I keep saying, you can still hear your body existing.
What?
And it's not like that thing he was mummified in was soundproof.
No.
I'd assume. So he could still hear what was going on outside.
You know what?
But then, like Liv said, we know silence in a different way from like Loki and Goose know silence, or
is true.
like a bird knows silence, or a fish knows silence, or she even brought up the idea of an ant or a bat, like creatures that can't hear but have other sensory things that rely on sound waves that they can pick up through different methods.
Do you think that's why whenever people talk about ETs using telepathy, you think that's why they used it? Because they just said, screw this vocalization. Let's close our mouths, use our mind. And that way we don't have any of that stuttering or stammering.
Well, even if they did, it's still not silence.
It's not silence, but at the same point, you're
It's
getting
an
to that.
interesting thought, but it doesn't pertain to what we're talking about, which is true silence.
Well, it also pertains back to the animal kingdom because we know animals talk to each other.
Yeah.
So, and they don't talk. I mean, they do talk verbally, but ants, crocodiles, lions.
Well, crocodiles make noise.
I mean, they make noise, but they also
Lions make a shitload of noise.
they make noise, but those physical cues that they give off.
Yeah.
No, but that's not silence either because they're probably thinking something the whole entire time they're making that physical gesture.
See, but also well, they have to be. I was going to say we don't know that, but if they're able to communicate in whatever way they're communicating, there's something going
If
on.
I'm a brown bear staring down two campers that are just below the ridge line, I don't think there's pure silence in my brain. I think what's going
No,
through
you're
my
like,
brain
I'm going
is
to eat those
kill us.
motherfuckers.
Kill us, which is kill. Kill them.
Yeah.
Kill us. So there's no silence. If a bear is sleeping in the woods,
If
it is thinking about its meal the next day.
if anything is doing anything, that's the thing. Even inanimate objects aren't silent. Unless you're like a stationary rock, but at the same time, everything around you is making noise.
So does that make rock sentient? Can they hear?
Well, I don't think we talked about it on the pod because I shot it down, but didn't we? You sent me some shit about rocks being sentient. And I was like, no.
I did do that.
I don't think they can hear. I'm just saying.
So how
they're not actively making noise, which would constitute true
can't hear,
silence,
they're
but
in
everything around
silence.
them.
If the rocks can't hear what's going on around them,
But
and
they're not
be able to vocalize, or they have,
But they're not. They
they're in
don't.
silence.
They have no way of hearing anything.
So that'd be silence.
Okay,
If
so
you can't hear anything, that's silence.
So then I guess rocks exist in true silence, even though they're not audible, conscious things.
What the fuck is going on with rocks? What do they know?
Nothing.
They made Dwayne the Rock Johnson. They know something.
There's a rock orgy, and Dwayne stepped out of it.
What if
Dwayne the Rock is the voice of all the rocks, and they're actually just like sick as fuck? He's like the rock ambassador.
He has enough rocks to take over the world.
Ooh.
Has enough
Let's
rocks.
get way off topic real quick. You know the whole what are there more wheels or doors debate?
Fucking wheels.
Okay, so what are there more rocks or fucking, are there more rocks or living beings,
Rocks.
including animals?
Rocks.
Why do you say that though?
The mountains we see are all built up of rock.
But
the ground
technically
we stand
isn't
on is built out
technically
of rock.
isn't it like a tectonic plate? Is that millions of rocks or is that one big rock?
It's got billions of rocks in it.
But aren't they all glued together?
So even
wouldn't
if
that make
that's
it one big rock?
Big rock, if that
My
one
only
big
thought-
rock got
my
in a
only
fight
thought-
with all the living creatures on Earth, I'm still putting my money on that one big.
Well, there's
rock.
no fighting. It's just a numerical thing.
Okay.
But also, if you argue like a rocky beach, one rocky beach is probably half, if not the same amount of humans there are on the planet.
See, but
Like no sand, like because on the North Shore of Long Island, we have beaches that are straight up just
rock
like rocks,
up in
and
up in
they're
upstate
gorgeous and
rock.
eroded. It's amazing. But like on that 1-2 mile stretch of shore, there's gotta be over, let's say to be safe, 8 billion rocks.
I'm sticking with rocks.
Yeah, it's definitely rocks.
It's gotta be
It was a
rocks.
stupid question. Why are we talking about? Oh yeah, because rocks live in silence, even though they.
But back onto what got us here.
But it breaks down to a philosophical conversation. Everything is made up. We know silence to be something, and we define it. That's what I'm stuck on, because I'm trained to say, oh, this word means this. This is what silence is to humans. And then we bring animals into it, but they don't have vocabulary. So even though we're arguing about animals and things that can hear and sense auditory function, we're the only species who can define that as one thing. So let's bring it back to humanity. There is no such thing as silence.
No. I would,
Because even when someone's like, when you watch like a, sorry to cut you off, when you watch like a, oopsie daisy, when you watch like a like Game of Thrones-esque show, and there's some king and he's like, silence, and everyone goes quiet, you can still hear shit.
Oh, you still hear the foot patter, you hear
The mic is still picking things up.
oh yeah, the boom mic's still getting it all.
And even if there was no boom mic and you're one of those people who is just silenced by a king,
By the king.
you're still hearing shit. There's shit going on outside. There's wind, there's waves, there's
dragons,
rain,
Vikings,
and fucking
unicorns and
some
centaurs.
dude fucking farts in the back. Like there's
You
always,
hear it.
if it was truly silent, you would at least hear all of those people breathing.
I'm sorry, I cannot breathe
That's why-
quietly.
That's why death is silence. But also, like I said, we don't know what happens. So maybe it's not. But if we die and it goes black, that's silence. We exist in quietness. You can be in a very quiet place, but there's still sound going on around you at all times.
Yeah. While you were talking, I tried to see if I could breathe without hearing my breath.
No, you can't.
I was able to breathe without hearing it, but the amount of air.
But
that
also
went
I
into
was
my body.
but also I was talking louder than you could breathe.
Hold on. Here we go.
But even if you hold your breath
not holding
aside,
it, I'm trying to
breath
breathe in.
aside, if you hold it, your heart's going to start beating and then you hear that. But right now we can hear Olivia.
But even myself, I can't hear my lungs inflating and the air going in. But the amount of air I'm taking in, I'm gonna pass out in about.
But
2
also
minutes if
there's
I keep breathing
the,
like that.
the point I'm trying to make is you can't hear it because there's at least 5 different louder things going on around you.
Middle of the Sahara Desert. You're a scorpion, a lone scorpion. Are you in silence?
No, because there's wind. But then also, unless you're completely still, you're going to hear yourself running through the sand. Sand is
yeah.
very loud.
Sand is loud. Okay, stealthy little jaguar walking through the forest.
Once again, there's a
I mean, there's
Jaguars-
so much in the
well,
rainforest.
Jaguars live in a rainforest. The rainforest, David Attenborough taught me the rainforest is like one of the loudest ecological systems on the planet. So even though you're the most quiet thing there, you're still hearing everything around you, especially as a cat, which we know hear more than we do.
6,000 meters deep. You think you're hearing anything?
You're going to hear yeah.
What are you hearing?
Have you ever watched like a deep dive video?
Well, I mean,
You
you're
still
hearing the
hear,
current
like,
and
the
shit. Yeah.
Also, if you're 6,000 feet deep, there's water, there air coming out of you. Even if you're in a submersible, that CO2 is getting ejected out of the submersible. You're going to hear the bubbles.
I'm Aquaman, bitch. I don't need no tube.
Okay, then maybe if you're Aquaman, what'd you say? 6,000 meters. I don't even
Yeah.
think that's that deep.
I don't know. It sounded like boat talk, so I.
But
said
also,
it.
if there's anything around you, you're going to hear it moving around.
Are you?
You could argue that space or like deep sea is silence. But like I said, at the end of the day, you're up there or down there and you can hear yourself saying, holy shit, it's fucking quiet down here. You're still what's the fucking word I'm looking for? Narrating the experience to yourself. You're still talking to yourself, which is in silence. So maybe if you put a Buddhist monk who achieved nirvana at the bottom of the ocean or in space, maybe aside from death, that's true silence.
Wow.
But at the end of the day, for the simpleton, there's no such thing as true silence.
There is no such thing. Should I play the video for the people who have made it this far?
Yeah, the algorithm probably won't catch us.
Because how far are we?
Like 20 something. 22.
Oh yeah, we burned far enough in.
We're also about at the point where I stand up and pee.
I was gonna say I gotta pee soon too.
Should we take
You're hearing the silence. We're hearing silence. When you hear something, you have to hear something. Okay? And when you're hearing silence. So you're hearing something. So you're hearing, does that make sense? No, yes, it does. It's like hearing like this.
Hearing silence, even if it's like really quiet.
No, but like think of it like this. If you're just sitting here and then you plug your ears, everyone's hearing something different.
said hi.
Exactly. You're hearing nothing. Something is something. Nothing is something.
Nothing is silent. I agree with the guy in the red hockey jersey.
They put you in and it's so quiet you can hear your heartbeat.
Yeah.
So you.
But you're still hearing things.
So there's no such thing as silent.
All
And
right.
that's what got us on this topic.
On that note,
We'll be right back.
piss break.
You go first. Got my trusty one-header. Supplied to me by my beautiful co-host, James MacArthur. Now watch as I hit this drive.
So really, true silence. It'd be trippy to experience if you can even comprehend that. I mean, in my head, I can't, but because like meditation, sensory deprivation tanks, soundproof rooms, there's no such, if you could shut off everything, I can't imagine what that would be like. And then I also think about deaf people, but they still have the inner, like they can still hear themselves. They have an inner monologue. It's fucking weird, man. I don't know if I'm going to leave this in or cut it, but it's pretty wild shit to think about. Really deep dive into. I don't know if we dive that deep. We might have just said the same shit over and over again. And if you're still here, thank you. Colin's back now, so we'll get back into it. I went on a little monologue while you were gone.
I was having fun with Taylor.
Taylor's still here? I thought he left.
No, he left and then came back. He just wanted to get food.
Oh. I should have got a beer. We're almost done.
Yeah, we're almost there. We're almost there. Keep going.
Oh, don't stop.
What's your go-to grunt? Is it the Viking, or is it the soft? Oh
When I'm fucking,
yeah. Because sometimes I'll just let out
No,
one of
it's
those
definitely-
gorilla.
no, I
What do
don't.
what do you
that.
mean? You don't slap your chest like a silverback and charge across the
No.
room?
No. My sex noise.
If I had to guess, I have a feeling that you're more of a silent but deadly person.
Yeah. But also Liv likes when I not give her feedback, but when I'm slightly vocal. So I guess more
strategic killer.
manly moans of pleasure, but not I don't make like deep noise.
Ugh.
Like I'll be like, oh fuck yeah.
Okay.
Like some shit like that.
So some ASMR.
I don't know if I've ever said, oh fuck yeah, but like that's like the tone.
Okay.
I'll be like, oh that I don't I'm on camera. I'm trying to think of actual things I've said while fucking.
Acting!
Yeah, I'm more of like a ass like, oh fuck.
Okay.
Yeah, like that. Or I'll be like, oh yeah, that's my range.
That's my range. I go from here to here and everything in between.
Either way, it's not true silence.
No, it's not. You're never silent.
All right, dude, fuck silence. I don't
Yeah.
even care that we didn't make it
No,
to half an hour.
I don't care either. This is
Silence
just-
isn't real. We're doing like 8 fucking
if you
18 episodes
have
today.
an argument, put it in the comments.
Drop it in the comments. Fucking absolutely that like button. And make sure that you fucking gorilla grunt that bell notification so you know when this episode comes out.
That's right.
Yeah, I guess that's all I got.
Oh, also,
I might
if you've made
Okay.
it this far, go to the link in the Couple Pints Pod page bio. Click on Couple Pints Pod merch.
Oh my god,
We
no,
have a
we're
s-
starting the next episode with a merch plug. We have to.
Okay, so we'll start the next one with it.
But if you're still here, do what he said.
Yeah,
At least check it out.
just peek.
Because also the fact that people check it out, but no one buys anything except for us and our family members. Teespring was like, oh, you guys get a lot of views.
It's like grabbing the nipples and twisting it, but not saying anything to boost my mood while you're doing it.
No, it's no.
What?
I don't like no.
Get out of here.
No, it's like when one of us sexy hunks walks past you on the street and you look but you don't touch. That's what it's like.
Yeah, not. You're a tease. Come on.
It's a cock tease. Anyway,
Cactus.
this has been
Couple Pints Pod.
It's Safe to Say.
We're out.
Here, let's redo that.
Okay.
You say so I could do the we're out part. So you say this. Let's switch roles.
This is Ben.
Wait.
Wait, it's
Yeah,
safe to
you
say.
say this has been, and then I say a couple of pints pod. You say it's safe to say.
Don't
and
we
then-
always do it like that?
I don't fucking know. All right,
This is Ben.
a couple pints pod.
It's safe to say.
Suck my cock.